Hey everyone, this is Shawn Garrett, founding attorney of Garrett PLLC and founder of the Legal Eagle podcast. My goal with this podcast isn't to brain dump complex business law and tax concepts, but instead, I want to highlight some of the entrepreneurs and business leaders in the communities that I serve. I'm licensed to practice law in North Carolina, South Carolina, Illinois, and Missouri. So many of these stories will be coming from Charlotte, my home city, Greenville, Chicago, and St. Louis. Today, we have Jeff Miller with Jeff Miller Coaching from Charlotte, North Carolina. Jeff Miller and I have been networking, playing sports together, been in business relationships together for a few years now, and I'm very excited to have him on. Jeff, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Sean, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, let's jump into it. Tell us about
Okay.
yourself. Very broad question.
First and foremost, Christian man, family of three amazing children, a 10-year-old daughter, 8-year-old and 6-year-old sons. I've been married almost 15 years, so my wife is
Awesome.
very patient. And relatively recently, been here about 2.5 years in Charlotte. And not only did my family move from Los Angeles, but our entire family moved from Los Angeles to Charlotte, and we are having a blast out here.
That's awesome. That's a huge change, though, from LA to Charlotte, coast to coast. What's been the biggest learning curve so far, if there has been one?
I mean, besides dealing with the humidity in my hair, I would say um, I don't think there was a big learning curve. I mean,
Good.
honestly, I think the only thing there's a little subconscious energetic flow difference. LA is
Hmm.
very go, 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 which I have been like, I was slowly depleting that from my life anyway. But it was
Hmm.
hard, right? Because it was always around you. Where here, it's a lot slower. I would say more intentional and more value based instead of rushed or urgency based. So that's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
a welcome good change there.
that's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when it comes to the South, we'll call it, being born and raised here, things are a bit slower. How is that impacting business? Do you feel like deals are taking a little bit longer to get done? How's that treating you?
Well, I mean, I think my first experience was when we moved, we did a lot of things to the home. And I was used to certain things. In LA, those folks are moving and grooving. They've got like crews everywhere, right? Because you kind of have to. And here, like you said, it's a little bit slower. So I'm thinking like, oh, like people are just kind of staying back in the job. And I'm like, no, no, no. This is just the pace of work. So it took me a while to like figure that out. And
Yeah,
then yeah, I think from a business side, I think it's the same way, right? People are a little bit slower to make decisions. I like to think of it, they're a little bit more intentional, not
mm,
slow as in like, is there something wrong? They're just intentional. They move to a cadence, which I kind of appreciate. So yeah, you've got to be talking and doing a bunch of different things to maybe create the things I was used to coming a little bit faster,
yeah.
which is fine. Again, I think anyone who's moved, once you get the lay of the land, then you just adjust accordingly.
Yeah, no, I love that. So, Jeff Miller with Jeff Miller Coaching, how'd you get started in the coaching world?
Oh man, I had kids. I was a pig in slop. I was running
Oh
tennis
man.
clubs. I was running tennis clubs in LA. I was a former tennis player, and I was living the dream. You give a guy like me like unlimited free tennis, unlimited free golf, all the food I wanted. Uh, Single Jeff was very happy. Married Jeff was very happy. I think when you get to Jeff with kids and the dad, I was not very happy because I was constantly not seeing them. I'd go like basically 3, 4 days without seeing my two plus kids with eventually three. And I just wanted something different. And then I wanted something with more impact. So once I decided, hey, I need to move on, that put me on a journey. And I had a good friend who went through a life and leadership coaching program. And I just kind of was looking when he was going through that, and I kind of fell in love with that work and just decided this is the natural extension of my life. And it makes sense now. It made no sense during to anybody. But it totally makes sense now. And now I get to create a more of a lifestyle where I get to be both a dad and a business owner. And that's how I kind of jumped in.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. So you gave my peek behind the curtain a little bit. Most of my listeners and the people that are going to be watching this may or may not know that you were a professional athlete. And you and I are always engaging in some sort of competition with one another, whether it's pickleball, basketball, golf. We haven't gotten to tennis yet, but we'll get there. Tell us about that experience, and then in a minute I'm going to ask how does that translate to your business. So professional athleticism, what was that?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, looking back, it was a grind. You know, I was traveling about 30 weeks a year, going to not so much the glamorous places, kind of in the minor leagues of tennis, just like baseball. So you're going to these
Hmm.
smaller markets all across the world and you're stretching the dollar as much as you can. But I was doing that when my buddies were in like junior and senior in college, taking like, bio exams and business law exams. No offense to you. And they were jealous. They were like, "You're like in Portugal and Spain and all these places." So it was really fun. Um,
That's
and it
awesome.
really that started my own business because my parents, I signed a contract. I had sponsors, I had coaches, I had stakeholder meetings every quarter. So my parents really helped me treat this like a business.
I
So
love
that's when I
that.
learned about P&L statements. And back then I was translating all these different currencies to dollars and, a lot of things we probably have apps for now, but it definitely helped me treat it like a business first and foremost. So I think that was like a little seedling for entrepreneurship. And it gave me a lot of perspective. So when I did go back to school, I was locked in and focused because I wanted to be there, not because I felt like I had to.
That's awesome. In the legal world, we call that the pomp and circumstance of running a company, corporate governance. And a lot of people, I work with business owners and they'll say, well, why do I have to do it that way? And the truth of the matter is, it's one, because it's right. And two, staying organized and staying disciplined in your business, it just has huge impacts down the road. So I love hearing those values being tied together. It's awesome. So in the golf world, I'm going to tie this to the name of my podcast real quick. In the golf world, par for the course is adequate. We know that. We're okay with pars. We don't
Yeah.
scoff at them, but we don't jump up and down. Birdies, however, are great. Eagles, they're on a different level. They're exceptional.
Yeah.
Legal eagle, that's what we strive for. We strive for exception. Give us a glimpse and translate exceptional results in your business.
Oh man. I would say whether I'm working with a one-on-one with a client, and this could be an entrepreneur, business owner, executive, or with a team. So maybe an executive team or like a sales team. Exceptional would be not only are they killing the metrics that they set up for themselves in their business, but in all areas of their life. So maybe they're a better parent, maybe they're a better partner to whoever they're with, maybe they're a better leader in their community, and they're crushing their business. That's the goal, right? I always joke when people are like, why do you call yourself a life and business coach? And I'm like, well, not because I'm the most boring guy on the planet and I couldn't think of a more clever niche. It was because I actually think that they need to be integrated for us to really be in our full potential and power. So
Mm-hmm.
when I think of exceptional clients who've done exceptional things that I've been a part of, it's the whole package. They're crushing it in all the things they wanted. Maybe some things they didn't even realize when we started.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. You and I are in very similar worlds because we are fathers, we are husbands, we are business owners, and so much of that life just ebbs and flows into one another. So, on the small business front, I'm sure it's different advising a small business owner, entrepreneur like myself versus a Fortune 500 CEO of a major corporation. What are the differences in advising there? What kind of comes to mind in terms of advising those two different individuals?
Well, I think one thing I think everyone can relate to, we all have similar paradigms or contexts that get in our way. I always use the
Hmm.
example like me and you, we're going to have money contexts that are going to get in our way. Oprah has a money context, slightly different, right? Hers might be, where do I give it to? And can I trust that
Yeah,
they'll do something good with that? That's not probably our context right now.
I prefer
Um,
hers, by the way. I
I prefer
prefer
hers
Oprah's.
too. Yeah. Like, that would be like, oh man, I got to spend like 3 hours figuring out where I'm going to give these millions to.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but Oprah, if you're listening, call me. We can talk about this.
Let's chat.
Um, but I think we all have these similar things that tie us together. I think my role is really asking these questions and making these bold reflections so that the things behind them that I can see that I bring out to them. So a business owner might be going from solopreneurship to some version of scalability to like what we would call full entrepreneur. Fortune 500 person might be talking about, like a CEO might be talking about stock price, board expectations. both of those things are really reflections of themselves.
Mhm.
So whatever that flavor is really getting clear on that by what they're not saying and really pinpointing that so that they can come up with those epiphanies themselves.
I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, nearing the end of our conversation together, just to give people a little bit of a glimpse into who the man is behind the business. Let's talk personal. When it comes to sports, you and I engage in all the sports. If it's a Friday morning, if it's a Friday afternoon, and you've got a clear schedule, what can we find you doing? What is your passion these days?
Oh man, well, anything physical, as you know, I like to suck at all things athleticism now that I'm retired as an athlete. So, working out, basketball usually on Friday or Saturday mornings, golf usually Friday afternoons. And then if I'm not coaching my kids, which is a whole nother animal, that's where you'll find me at. I like to do anything athletic, anything outside, anything fun. But golf right now has kind of got me at the heartstrings. And what you don't know, and this is like full new news, right? On your podcast.
Okay, breaking.
I have some kind of challenge that's rumbling from the family for me to train and join the senior PGA Tour when I'm eligible.
Oh
So
wow,
I'm thinking about this.
that's
Dangerously,
awesome.
probably dangerously too long thinking about it after the laughter subsided, but yeah, getting better. I think golf, similar to business and family, the
Yeah.
reason why a lot of people love golf is because you're never going to master it.
Yep.
And you're always going to stink at one aspect of it. So you got to figure it out on the fly. So I kind of love the problem solving of that. So that's kind of like where you're going to find me either in the basement on my simulator or outside in the Charlotte heat trying to go for those eagles you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, yeah. I got a story to tell you from last weekend. Real quick, what's the handicap at now? Are we under 10? We're under 6 at this point, right?
I think I'm back up to six. I was at three, but thanks to
Okay.
reality golf, I'm back up to six. So
Oh man. Well, last weekend I went out to Todd Hill Farm and I may have told you this, but I played nine-hole rounds in my first tournament. And we ended up coming in first place, but it was a really cool experience. I was out there with my first place in my flight, very caveated in my flight.
hey, that's still
Uh,
first place in my book.
That's true. But what was cool about it, we were out there with my friend Connor. You met him before,
Yep.
and I would go out there and I would, 100 yards out, I would take a swing, and the ball would land closest to the green in my eyes, and I would think, "Wow, success! I'm, propelling myself forward." And then Connor would come alongside me and say, "You're left and right. We want to aim small, miss small." And so, in my daily life, I love interacting with people like yourself, with Connor, other business owners, people that are pushing us forward because it's hard to know what success is all the time. It's hard to know, have our baseline unless we're talking with people like yourself. In my eyes, getting close to the green, that's good, but it's like, man, maybe I'm missing the big picture of I could have been a little bit closer had I just turned a little bit. So, Jeff Miller, this was amazing. I really appreciate your time. Tell us, how can we find you? Website, email, what's that look like?
All things Jeff Miller Coaching. So jeffmillercoaching.com, Jeff Miller Coaching on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook even. I'm kind of on all the places. But yeah, reach out. We've got a podcast. My buddy Tatsu Fashimi and I, another coach called Button Downs and Basketball Shorts. So yeah,
Okay.
check us out there too.
Tell us that name real quick. Where's that come from?
Well, it's kind of an homage to the COVID dress code where everybody stopped dressing down from the waist below. But honestly, Coach has been doing this for decades. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's no point in wearing a full suit if you're at home. So, kind of have some fun with that. And it's been fun. And we're on, gosh, episode 85 now. So,
Congratulations. That's amazing. Awesome. Well, Jeff, I really appreciate your time. I look forward to chatting with you more. Take care.
appreciate it, John. Thanks.